Hi everyone, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Robin, or Hobbit's Reading List, and this week we're doing a road trip. My siblings graduated high school, so I am driving down to Arkansas tomorrow. It's about a 12-hour drive, and then I will, watch them graduate, take them out to dinner, take them shopping for whatever present they want, as long as it's, like, not too expensive, like a car or something. I don't think they would do that, and then Monday I'll be driving back. So, at the very least, I should finish 2 audiobooks. But, we have a lot to do. But I have already read something. Read, but not finished. So let's just jump into that. Yesterday, I started reading, I finished up work, and Tuesdays become like an emotionally hard day work-wise. I'm just dealing with like a lot of different personalities, and it kind of feels like I'm reading like whiplash. And so by the time I'm done, which I actually ended early yesterday, just by like an hour, but by the time I'm done, I'm just kind of just drained. So I very much need this time off, even though I am working from my dad's house on Sunday. I do have Friday off. But all that to say, I started reading Sweat Connection last night, and I read let me see, I would say 23%, because it's on Kindle. So that's pretty good. And literally the only reason I stopped is because I was literally just like, and I'm like, okay, I need to just go to bed. But Sweat Connection is about this guy named Reese. He is a newly single dad, although he is still besties with his ex-partner? Wife? I don't actually know if they were divorced. I mean, I don't know if they were married. But they were best friends. They gave dating a shot, but by the time they realized that they were better as friends, they were already pregnant. So they have a 2-year-old together named Sammy, and Sam is crazy. He's just everywhere. So Reese is very stressed out on the weeks that he has Sammy, but of course he loves having him as well. But Sammy clogs the toilet by putting some toys in there, and Reese calls a plumber, and that's how we get Cole. Now Cole is a bear of a man, and Reese is instantly attracted. And Cole is also instantly attracted, but we don't know that until his chapter. And they have a good little banter moment, and then Cole gives him Reese his personal number, and it's not necessarily intended as a hey, hit me up, let's date sort of situation, although Cole certainly wouldn't mind if that happened, but Reese definitely interprets it as that. So that's where I'm at. And, well, actually where I'm at is there's a misunderstanding. Reese plans a date. Cole shows up thinking it's a job. And so there's some very, adorable, embarrassment. But it wasn't too bad. I didn't get, secondhand embarrassment or anything. So that's where I'm at. And I'm assuming that the rest of the book will be about them getting closer, sort of navigating the things that they have in their personal lives together. Because Reese has, his friend group that he sort of pulled away from, as well as, having Sammy to take care of, half the time. Cole has a dad that is in a retirement home because he recently has lost the use of his legs after an accident. And so Cole lives in their, family home alone. And so they're both, wanting a relationship, but they also have to, navigate some stuff. So I actually, I'm enjoying it so far. And, it's a pretty easy read. Pretty fun. So yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it. And I am debating, and I probably will do this, because while I already know what audiobook I'm going to listen to tomorrow, I don't necessarily want to start it today, just because it's only 6.5 hours, which means that realistically it's only 5 hours with me listening at 1.4 speed. And so I'm like, well, I can literally just listen to all of it tomorrow. Like, I don't need a break. And even if I need a break, I can still listen to all of it tomorrow. So yeah, I think I'm just going to save that for tomorrow. So I am debating, even though I know I'm not going to enjoy it, debating just listening to the rest of More Notes of a Dirty Old Man by Charles Bukowski. I think I have less than 2 hours left. And because it was the book that I was just like putting on the background while I cleaned, because I have grown out of my Charles Bukowski phase. While I still like some of his poetry, not all of it, I don't like his prose or his reflection pieces or articles or whatever they are. I've grown out of that. But it's such a short book, so I want to just get it done. So I think I will listen to it today and finish it, and then get rid of the book. So yeah, so now that I've said that, I'm probably just going to do that because it just makes the most sense. And also, I have a lot of books that I'm like currently reading on Storygraph, and that's a really easy one for me to just get out of the way. So I probably won't film tomorrow morning before I leave. I may stop somewhere for, a break and film then, especially about the audiobook that I'm going to start. So I will probably give an update at some point tomorrow, either like at a rest stop or later that night when I'm at my dad's house. So we will see. I made it to my dad's, although we did have a little adventure. I nearly got a flat tire pretty much as soon as I crossed over into Arkansas. So I had to take a little detour to get a new tire, which only added like an hour to my drive. It's not bad. So thank you, Walmart. But, okay, going back slightly. I did finish listening to More Notes of a Dirty Old Man and did not enjoy it. I gave it a 1 star. I just don't really have an interest in an old white guy's opinions from the like 1960s. Like, he's very misogynistic. He thinks he's like the cream of the crop. And it's just frankly annoying. So yeah, so I gave it 1 star because I'm over Bukowski. Like I said, I've outgrown. But, and I'm in my dad's Christmas room, which doubles as the guest room. So that's why there's Christmas decorations and my water bottles. But, so there was that. And then when I started driving down to Arkansas, I was going to listen to the last audiobook on my TBR, but it wasn't on Libby, it wasn't on Spotify, so I went and looked on Audible, which was originally where I knew it was an audiobook. But what I didn't notice was that it was narrated by virtual voice, so it doesn't actually have a narrator. And that was not something that I wanted to do. So instead I started listening to, well, I listened to, because I finished it, the audiobook for the first book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. Now, I started reading the series physically in January, so this was a really quick turnaround. But everyone has been telling me that the audiobooks are amazing. I have been wanting my dad to read the series, and probably like 5-ish weeks ago, maybe 6, he started listening to the audiobooks, and he's been telling me that they're amazing. And so I'm like, all right, well. And so I kind of made this deal with myself that, like, if I finished all the audiobooks, you know, on my TBR, and I still had time in the month, that I would listen to Dundercolor Carl. And it just worked out that I listened to it yesterday. I finished it, I want to say like 40 or 50 minutes before I got to my dad's house. I pretty much listened to it straight through because it's that good. Which normally I can't listen to audiobooks for more than like 3 or 4 hours at a time. Dundercolor Carl, listened to it the entire way. It made the drive go so quickly. But yeah, the first time I read Dundercolor Carl, I gave it 5 stars. I gave it 5 stars again. So there is that. And then the only other thing is that my siblings' graduation was tonight, and after their name was called, we were just sitting. And so I continued reading Sweat Connection. I think I'm like halfway, which it was a little awkward to read because I like resumed reading it like pretty much in the middle of a sex scene. And there were people around, and while my dad was like, no one's close enough to like read what you're reading, I was still just like very worried, so I kept like kind of like just tucking it like very close and like almost vertical and like just like reading it because I didn't want anyone to see. But yeah, I'm like halfway and I'm enjoying it. I like, and I may have mentioned this before, but I like their different struggles. Like Reese, who is the single dad, has always struggled with like being too much in relationships. So he has a lot of insecurity about that. Even his own parents have told him that like he's too much. And so he's very worried, and he thinks that like this relationship with Cole is going to like fizzle because he's too much. Whereas on the other hand, Cole has always been told that he's like too boring almost. And so he's like, he has a lot of anxiety about that, and then he has anxiety about like dating a single dad, and like what if the kid doesn't like him, which is very valid. And so I'm really enjoying it. There's a lot of lust, but also a lot of like them getting to know each other. I wish there was more of them getting to know each other, because while the spicy scenes are great, they're very well written, a lot of the like, we're getting mentions of like, oh, we've been texting all day, which like, okay, fair. And like we do get like snippets of their conversations, but I would just like a little bit more. So yeah, that's about it. And it's actually like pretty late, so I'm gonna go, but I wanted to make sure to film, you know, a little quick recap. But I will probably not read more tonight, but I will read more tomorrow, probably in the morning. So I will check in then. Okay, so I'm back home. It's always a little like awkward to record at my dad's house just because it's so quiet. And like it's quiet in my house too, but I don't know, I feel awkward sometimes. I finished reading Sweat Connection, and I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was really like cute. It was low angst. I liked both Reese and Cole. I mentioned like wishing we had more of their conversations, which I stand by, but I did like, for the most part, like enjoy it. I would be curious about the sequel, and I've added it to my wish list. I gave it 3.5 stars, just because, like I said, like I would have liked more of the like day-to-day relationship development instead of just seeing like their dates. So I felt like if it had been a little bit longer, I would have probably given it a higher rating, like a 4, just so that we had more detail. So there's that. And then I started reading, it's really funny, I started reading the 6th book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, which was the next physical book I was going to read. This is following, well, I don't want to, it's hard because like when you're so deep in a series, you don't want to like give away spoilers or anything. So Dungeon Crawler Carl is about this like game that the survivors of humanity are put into after the infrastructure of the world is destroyed by aliens, because the earth like owed minerals or something. But anyway, there's this game called Dungeon Crawler World that is very popular in the universe, and you know, whenever it's played, a planet kind of gets destroyed, and all the survivors have the option of like trying to make it on the surface or going into the dungeon and surviving. And if someone survives the 18th level, they essentially get control over the world and get to rebuild and everything. However, no one has ever made it past the 12th level, which is crazy. So Dungeon Crawler Carl is following Carl and his ex-girlfriend's show cat, Princess Donut, as they navigate the dungeon. And Princess Donut becomes a fully fledged character very quickly. And so we're following them. So I read about 70 pages in the 6th book, which is The Eye of the Bedlam Bride. And I really like it, actually. I think this is interesting timing, because there's a prologue, which usually doesn't happen, and it gives some background information for one of the like side characters, Mordecai, who is in the first book Carl and Donut's like game guide, essentially. So it gives some more background about him, which is very important. And yeah, so they're, where I am right now, they're just figuring out the floor. Like, what is happening? How does this floor work? Because each floor has a different sort of like theme, essentially. So they're just trying to figure it out. But I'm obviously enjoying it. But it's interesting that we got that prologue about Mordecai, because obviously I listened to the first book I reread the first book on audiobook on my drive down to Arkansas. I listened to the second book on my drive back. And then I started the 3rd book. So I'm not going to talk a ton about the plot of those, just because like I just read those in like February. So what's really interesting is that now that I've read that prologue, certain things that Mordecai has said in the first 2.25 books, because I'm not far into the 3rd one, make a lot more sense. And so I'm like, oh, now I'm like, I feel like I have like not all the puzzle pieces, but a lot of the puzzle pieces where I'm like, oh, okay, so this and this and da 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 da. So it's really interesting to like be doing it this way. I thought it would be confusing to be like listening to the first, few audiobooks, but reading a later book in the series. I thought it'd be confusing, but it's actually not. At least not so far. So I just stuck with the ratings for the 2nd and 3rd book. I'm not going to re-rank them. Like, I don't think my rating is going to change in 3 months. So, but it's just a nice thing to listen to, since all the other books on my May TBR are not available or ideal on audiobook. Like, there are some books on my May TBR that are available on audiobook, but I either don't think it's appropriate, like with Body Kindness, which has a lot of like journaling aspects rolled into it, or with like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which I've tried on audiobook and I didn't like it. So or with More Reasons to Say, that was narrated by virtual voice, which I don't do. So, I don't really have any other audiobooks on my May TBR, so I'm just gonna listen to Dungeon Crawler Carl for the rest of May. And in June, I will obviously have more audiobooks to choose from. But I think it's nice because I've been wanting to listen to the series because the audiobooks have been so highly recommended, which I definitely get. The audiobooks are very well done. Yeah, I'm really happy about my decision. But that's what I read. Like, it's been a predominantly Dungeon Crawler Carl week. So, which I think is interesting. Yeah, that's about what I got. It feels like a very quick weekend, but thank you so much for watching, and make sure you leave a comment, like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell, and I will talk to you next week.